Hi, you guys. Coach Nikki here, and I'm actually down in Santa Barbara. I am on a Kaya tour, so I had the amazing honor to be in a conference in Palm Springs. Then I went to Kaya Fit Carlsbad, made my way up to Kaya Fit Santa Clarita, and now heading up the coast to drop off my son at hockey and make it to Kaya Fit Davis. So it's been a really fun road trip and a tour de Kaya. I'm very much looking forward to this time that we have together. The last Friday of every month, this is our Financial Friday. So if you missed last week, it is no big deal, but I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. So hopefully you're able to grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, because I would really love these Fridays to be actionable and for us to, one, join the Facebook group. So Deb on Facebook, she put our private Facebook group link there, also here on Zoom. And this is just a space, it's not where I'll be posting all the time, but it's just a space for us to connect and be real when it comes to what we need to be free, to have abundance and have a beautiful life. And it's going to be focused towards finance. So join the private Facebook group, introduce yourself, say your goals, and then just tag me if you have any questions or if there's anything you want me to go over in these Friday calls. So last week we got organized. So go ahead, and if you are on Zoom under reaction, or you can just type in if you were able to take the time to get organized. If you're on Facebook, if you're watching this on replay, just put replay, or if you're watching this live, did you get an opportunity to get yourself organized in all of the, and I'll go over it quickly, but what we did last week was we looked at all of our accounts. So our savings, our checking, any retirement accounts that we have, anything from our 401k to our IRAs, what interest. It was a lot of work, but we had a whole month to do it. And we'll just continue because that will be an evergreen process that we'll always be diving into. We also challenged each other to get our documents in order. We had a huge fire in Tahoe and we were evacuated. And I found that I was a mess. Like, I didn't even really know where like our social security cards were. It wasn't easy for me to grab like our passports, things that are so simple. But so we challenged each other last week to get all of that organized and in one place. So what insurance do you have? Do you have life insurance? What are your deductibles? And just started gathering information so we know where we sit right now. Because moving forward, and today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your core values, what you really want out of life, and then be super specific with how to get yourself there. Short-term, midterm, long-term goals to get there. And then hopefully you guys will join a savings challenge with us and um, get and just start posting about even the smallest amount, but saving every single day towards something that is important to you. So hopefully that sounds awesome and exciting. Go ahead and type in if you are ready for the challenge, if you want to take the savings challenge. And then again, let's just go ahead and dive in. So this is something, yay, awesome, Deb's in. So this is something that is really near and dear to my heart, but something that I focus on, which is financial freedom, and the idea that you were born to be free, I was born to be free, and in order for us to really feel that we can like absorb all of the abundance that this life has to offer, we really need to focus on our finances. And sometimes, unfortunately, as women, that we talk more about even like sex than we do, which is kind of a like taboo conversation, right? We talk more about like our Netflix series that we're watching than we do our own finances, because whatever reason. And we really are good at saving money. Women are really good at at being powerful when it comes to to like being financially savvy. But what I know for sure is where that abundance and freedom and power comes from is from a good group of supportive people, from the knowledge and the tools. So that's what we're going to focus on, is really getting our group super tight. Hopefully you guys will join the last Friday of every month. Keep the conversation going on the private Facebook group and dive into what is our goals and how we can achieve them together. So last month, we talked about what is your financial superpower. So if you are at a space that you can type it in, and if you're on Facebook, I always check it later, go through any questions. So, Deb, Mary, Joy, Candy, all my Facebook friends, I know Amanda, you're driving. If you can type in your superpower, and Steph, Aim, anybody who is on Facebook. So, my financial superpower is I'm really good at side hustles, and I'm really good at, I get excited about the opportunity at saving intensely on the things that I really don't care for, and then spending on the things that I do care for. So my superpower is I'm good at side hustle. Go ahead and type in your superpower. You can write it down. You can share it with me. Deb, awesome. I know that that is your superpower as well. So when we're thinking about, and sometimes it doesn't come to your mind because you're like, I don't know what my financial superpower is. Like, maybe it will come to mind later. But if you don't mind, tag me in it. You can text me, you can email me it. But just really knowing that you do have a superpower and that it is important to embrace your superpower. Maybe it's savings, maybe it's starting different businesses, maybe it's um, helping other people understand. So there's a lot of different ways that we can be really good at finances, and honing that superpower in is what I think is important. So today we're going to talk about our actual SMART goals, for saving, for creating that abundance. And then we're also going to join a savings challenge if you would like. Okay, so when we're talking about our financial goals, the most important thing is that you know what your core values are. So, and there's probably a few core values that you have, but it's if, and we talked a little bit about this last month, but your why needs to be really strong. And sometimes your core value can be like, I want to save money for my family and my kids, and leave some kind of financial legacy for them. So then your core value would be security. Maybe it is, I want to travel and I want to have freedom to go to Spain or go to Palm Springs, or I want to experience travel. And so then your core value would be experiences. So as I'm kind of going through some of these, just write down things that resonate with you, that make you feel warm, that make you feel like, oh, this is something that is like a value of mine. Maybe it is giving back. So maybe you're like, oh, I would love to help my local school raise money for kids that need help with lunches, or I want to travel and build homes for people in need. So then your core value would be giving back. So taking just a second and thinking about what is your core value. And sometimes it's both. Like for me, that is it, is I want to be able to be in service of others. And I know if I'm going to be able to give when my family needs it, when my friends need it, when the people who are in business with me need it, when you need it, I know I need to have the financial stability to be able to be in service fully. So mine is giving back. I am a huge experience person, as you can probably see if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever that is. On Instagram, I'm Coach Nikki Warren, but I love creating experiences with my family and my friends and my workouts. And I love traveling as part of my job. And then security is probably the lower for me for core values. Um, I do value it, but it's not my very top as far as my core value needs. So hopefully you were able to kind of like write down any type of like, okay, this is why I want to save money. This is why I want to have financial freedom. And then we'll work together to figure out what your core values are. Um, so when you're looking at your core values, like I was referring to earlier, is the idea to spend money on the things that you really like, but just absolutely spend no money on things that don't bring you joy. And so writing down a couple things. So if you have like your core values, so go ahead and write down your core values. And then under that is like, okay, if traveling is important to me, then going out to coffee isn't important to me. So like this morning, I'm staying at a hotel. I made coffee in the van. I save money in not going to like different coffee shops, but I am going to spend on taking the coast up to Kayafit Davis instead of going straight inland. So as you're writing down what you can spend on, what you want to spend on, what makes you really happy, and then what makes that doesn't really make you happy, looking at those to align your core values and make sure that you're spending on the things that bring you joy and that you're really, really saving and you're taking that money away that maybe you spend frivolously on things that don't necessarily make you happy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive in. We've got just a few more minutes together, but I really want to get to this creating SMART goals. So I want us to be very, very specific on what we want and then the amount of money that is tied to that specific goal. So so last week we got organized. It's not late. Last month we got too organized, not too late. We can do that this month. This month, what we're going to look at is really creating a plan of attack to create freedom and financial success in your life. So what I want us to look at is our long-term goals. So long-term goals, if you have a piece of paper, just write like long-term goal and then write like 10 years. So it's over 10 years. And then mid-term goals is like 5 years, like, 1 to 5 years. And then short-term goals are that like 1 month, 1 year. So we're going to do short-term goals, midterm goals, and long-term goals. And we're going to really think about what we need to do to save to achieve these different goals. And again, there can be a few different, and there should be a few different core values that we're saving for. So when we're thinking about like, so let's just put, for example, your retirement. So let's just write like retirement at the top. So which all of us should be thinking about, even though like security is not the top of my motivation factor, because I'm more of like a spontaneous and like living in the moment type of person, it's very important for me to think about what I want for retirement. So let's all together think about, okay, how much money do you want for retirement? So this is your long-term goal. This is like when you retire. And you don't have to have all of these planned out perfectly, but just say, okay, I want to retire at what age? So I'm honestly never going to retire because I love what I do, but I do want to set it up in a way that I'm financially completely secure, that I'm not working for a paycheck any longer. I'm working because I love to work. So I'm going to say like 65, just because that's kind of an easy number. You might say 70, you might say 50, you might say 80, so whatever year that you want to retire. Then from there, how much money do you want to retire with? So just put 1 million, um, because it's an easy number and it's something that we can work towards. And we will also, I'll put, and Deb, if you can remind me, I'll put a retirement calculator in our private Facebook group, so then you can see it takes into account where you are right now, what savings you have. Next month, we are going to talk about where to put the money that we're saving, what accounts, what like 401ks, IRAs, the different accounts that you can be putting in. So we can look at what type of interest rate that you're getting on the money that you're putting in. So you know how much money you need to put in every month to hit this retirement goal. So right now, we're not going to worry about that. Just go in the private Facebook group, or you can even just like Google retirement calculator, and that will come up. But for right now, we're going to say our long-term goal is to retire with 1 million, but you can put whatever you want there. Then our midterm goal, so that's going to be like 5 years from right now, what we want. And so we can say like, okay, we want 30% of our long-term goal to be in our 5-year plan. And then from there, our short-term goal. So maybe your short-term goal this year is to max out your 401k. Maybe it is to start a 401k. Maybe it is to join our savings challenge, which I'll tell you about at the end of this call. But thinking about putting numbers behind your core value goals. So we want to do our retirement. So also, like you could just do this for fun, is if experiences are important to you, then our and maybe it's our long-term goal is to, like, for me it would be to have like the van life and to be able to travel around. In 5 years I would like to, let's say, go to Europe, and then 1 year, um, this next year I'll be turning 50, so I want to go to, and I'm just like saying it off the top of my head, Spain. Okay, so if my goal is to travel to Spain in 1 year or 5 years, the first thing that we need to know is how much that trip costs. So again, like with your retirement, you have to know, this is how much money I want to retire. This is what I need to save in 5 years. This is what I need to do today to get myself to there in 1 year. Now we're going to do the same thing with experiences. Is when do you want to go on vacation? What vacation do you want to take? What time frame? So start with the end in mind. What time frame? How much exactly is it going to cost? And then what you need to do and what you want to do to put into savings. And we're going to do the same thing if your core value is give back, and you're like, okay, eventually I would like to go to Africa and build a school. I want to do that in 5 years. So then you're going to find an organization, how much that costs. It probably costs you $5,000, and then work your way back to today. So we know exactly what we're saving and why we're saving it. And then that motivation will keep us going. Now, a lot of times people kind of neglect the midterm goals, and the midterm goals are one of the things that are the most important, because we're really good at creating short-term goals, and then we're pretty good at creating long-term goals. But it's almost like that marathon mindset, that you just keep going, and you're drudging your way through. If you can pull it back to a 5K run or a 10K run, it's easier to keep your momentum moving forward. So when you're looking at your timeline and how to budget, don't neglect that midterm goal. Okay, thumbs up. Everybody still with me? Hopefully I'm not losing you. Feel good? Okay, awesome. So the next thing is, I want us to put our goals somewhere where we can see them. So maybe it is your screensaver. Maybe it is your computer screensaver, maybe it's a post-it, but and something that's helpful for me because we only do these financial meetings once a month is to put a reminder on my phone once a week to make sure that I'm targeting what I said I was going to target. So last week we got organized, or we're working on getting organized and knowing where we are and what our foundation currently looks like. Then this week, I'm going to set reminders on my phone to set my financial goals and to every week make sure that I'm putting money into, and right now just put it into whatever savings you have. If you don't have a savings, just start a savings. Because again, we'll talk about the best savings, or not the best savings, but savings that have no cost to you, that have a high interest rate, that are like where you can get your money working for you. We'll talk about that next week. But right now, my reminders on my phone are going to be, am I saving my money every week? Am I making sure that I'm saving money towards what I really want, that it's my core values that are driving my saving habits? And am I cutting down and paying down my debt? So I want to leave you guys with that, is that a portion of our is understanding your debt. So last week, hopefully you looked at your credit cards, you looked at how much you owe your credit cards, and I know sometimes it can be depressing. You guys, I have been there with you many times in my life, and that I'll tell you right now, you can get out of debt. You can get out of debt. If I can get out of debt, you can get out of debt. I even just like a year and a half ago, and this is personal, and I'm like on Facebook Live, but we had over $100,000 that we owed our attorneys. We had over $100,000 that we owed, like as like a corporation, in different like high interest like credit cards and things. In one year, us as a team, we worked to pay all of that down, so then now we can take our money, and as a corporation we can invest it back into our locations. We can invest it. We're not feeling like we're constantly swimming uphill. It is something that we can do together, and I'm here to help you. So please don't let being in debt overwhelm you, but just make a plan. Just like we did with our savings, make a plan to get that paid off, whether it's your school loans, whether it's, um, you know, anything that's like high interest. So, especially credit cards, because credit cards are such a nightmare. Like if just like, for example, like if you owe $10,000 on a credit card and your interest rate is 18% and you pay the minimum of $200, it's going to take you like 8.5 years to pay it off. And then at the end, you're going to pay $18,000. So you're going to pay just as much as you charged on the credit card in interest. So this is something that we don't want to just pay our minimums. We really want to get on the phone with the credit cards and negotiate a lower interest rate. We want to be aggressive in paying off that debt, just as aggressive as we are in creating a plan to save for our future. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. I love that we get to do this together. It's very helpful for me. So I take this very, very serious. I do my homework, and I come to the table just as you, with we all have different core values. We all have different debt, and our foundation is different, but what we have in common is we have a want to be better. We have a want to be financially successful and to be free. And one of the most important things in life is you are the sum of the five people you hang around with. And so pay attention to showing up. If this brings value to you, show up with me, show up with our friends who are on this call together, and reach out in a bigger way. So, again, maybe it's that private Facebook group, maybe it's having an accountability partner, but watch who you're spending your time with. It's just like, when junky eating. If you're around people who are always eating junky, you're more likely to eat junky. If you're around people who are really healthy, who love working out, you're more likely to work out. So think about that with your financial health as well. If you're around people who are always like spending crazy amounts of, or not even crazy amounts, but just spending and not saving, that's probably going to be what you're going to be doing as well. So thinking about staying tight with our group, um, and our saving challenge is, and you get to set your challenge, but I want you to, in the private Facebook group, or you can put it here on Facebook or on Zoom, is say what you will save every day. So it can be, and I'd like it to be last month as well. So then we started this together, but say $1 a day. So we're going to save $30 every month and put that into a savings. So put a reminder. Now you can put any amount of zeros or you can take the zeros off. So if you want to do, but just don't go too big at first. Do something, because all we want to do is get in the habit of saving. So if it's $1 a day, there's a lot of things that we spend on that we can cut. And we want to look at that. There's a lot of like little things that we do that maybe don't bring us a lot of joy that we can cut, just so we can save that $30 a day. Oh, great. Awesome, Deb. So Deb's started a new savings account and she's doing $1 a day. And so Deb, can you do that for last month as well? Can you do $30? Yep. Awesome. Okay. So our savings challenge is saving a certain amount every single month. And so start lower. So if it's $30 a day, if it's 300 a month, you might be in a position to save, more than that, but whatever it is, set a reminder on your phone, and wherever you're paid. So if you're paid like twice a month, or if you're paid once a month, or if you're paid weekly, is automatically take that amount out and put it into a savings. It doesn't matter what savings it is right now. Please make sure it's not a savings that's charging you anything, because that you shouldn't be paying to give your money to somebody. But we'll dive into that into later weeks. Okay, so thumbs up if you're in for the savings challenge. We're going to do it together. Make a plan to aggressively pay off your debt. So that needs to be in your specific goals, and then write down your core values and what you want to start saving on. So whether it's experiences, whether it's security, whether it's giving back or service, whatever that is, whatever it makes your heart feel warm, write it down, start making a plan, and then together we will get there. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me.